Oh, this is Luke Powell. I'm going to record and do a little video here of my Ironman Ohio 70.3 race report. It's Wednesday, so a couple days after the race was on Sunday. Just haven't had time to sit down and write up a race report, so I thought this would be a faster way to get something out. So I'll post this to my blog and also on my YouTube channel. So real quick, this is a half Ironman race in Delaware, Ohio, a little bit north of Columbus, Ohio. So took the whole family up. We got there Saturday afternoon, went straight to the race site, checked in, got my race packet, went to the athlete meeting. This race is a little unique, it has two different transition areas. So I quickly put all my T2 stuff together, put it in a bag, dropped that at T2, then drove to T1, dropped my bike off there, and then we had access to T1 on race morning. So sleeping was interesting with all four children in one hotel room. I guess the benefit of having a baby with us is that we all went to bed when the baby went to bed. So we were asleep by probably 7:30, 8 o'clock Saturday night, which was good because I had a 3:15 alarm set so I could get up and get down to the lobby by a little bit after 4. I was catching a ride to the T1 race start with some friends of mine. They wanted to leave at a little after 4, so that was no problem for me. I enjoy getting to races super early. So we drove down, parked at T2, took a shuttle up to T1 to the swim start. I had plenty of time to get ready. Before I left the hotel, I had my normal pre-race meal of a cold sweet potato and almond butter. And yeah, that sounds disgusting, but I've used it for years and it works. I try to eat it about 3 hours before the race. So got to the race site, got everything set up there in the first transition area. They announced the race was wetsuit legal. Barely. It was like, I think 75.9 degrees, 75.5 degrees, 0.6, something like that. So we had about half a degree to spare for it to be a non-wetsuit legal race. So I had my wetsuit, so they said it was legal, so I put it on. If I've got it, I'm going to use it. So used it, got everything ready for the race starts. The swim start was in waves. I was in the third wave, which was good. I like getting out there early. So had the waves going every few minutes. So my wave got in the water. It was really, to my surprise, it was really pretty crowded the whole swim time. You know, I ended up, it was a triangular swim. Ended up catching some of the waves in front of me, and we went out. And the first turn, we made a left turn. The buoys were on the left all the way around the triangle. The first turn, the sun was just glaring right in our eyes, and so I couldn't see many of the buoys heading. We were heading directly east into the sun, so got a little bit off course there, but not too bad. So overall, wasn't too disappointed in the swim. I was hoping for somewhere around 35 minutes or so. Ended up being around 36 minutes. I'll put all my actual split times in the post on the blog below this video, but came out of the water about 36 minutes. There were no wetsuit strippers, which was all right. I don't mind that. Sometimes I don't use them even if they're there. But went on to transition, got the wetsuit off, threw the helmet on, and was heading out. I had my shoes clipped in. I didn't put on socks, so pretty quick transition straight onto the road. Got on the bike. The bike is an out and back course, finishes a different place than it starts, thus the two transition areas. So I knew the bike was going to be a flat course, pretty fast, so I was looking to hold a pretty good pace and wattage the entire time. I had a goal of trying to be around 220 watts for my average nominal power. So I had my Garmin watch set up to keep an eye. I had it set up to the top line was overall time, and then below that I had my 3-second average power, and then also had the distance so I could keep track of how far I'd gone and what I had left. The time I have set so that I can take my nutrition and keep track of that. So my nutrition for the bike, the plan was to use a mix that I've tried out on a couple training rides, something new. It's called, I don't know if you can see that, it's called Fat Fiber. It's really kind of what it sounds like. It's mostly fat. So I put, it's MCT blend. So I'll put 3 scoops of this in a water bottle with some coconut water. Just something else I've been using for several years. It's you know, just basically a natural form of Gatorade. It's got some sodium, potassium in it for some electrolytes. Got you know, a little bit of carbohydrates in it. So I had that bottle mixed up with 3 scoops of the fat fiber plus about 3/4 of the bottle, and also had 3 of these coconut almond butter packets. And I've used almond butters in the past during longer races. It's a good fuel source for me. So I had 3 of these. So in transition, grabbed these, stuck them in my back pocket of my tri-suit, and headed off. So I'll get on the bike, and every 15 minutes the plan was to take a swig of my powdered solution there with the coconut water, and then also had 2 bottles of just plain water to keep me hydrated. So, and then I had 3 of those almond butter packs. The plan there was to every 45 minutes take one of those down. Those things are 190 calories a piece. The mix I had total in the bottle for the fat fiber mix plus the coconut water was 340 calories, 27 grams of fat, so a lot of fat, and only 29 grams of carbohydrates. So not a whole lot of carbs, not a whole lot of sugar. There's no sugar in that fat fiber. There's a little bit of sugar, natural sugar in that coconut water, about 20 grams total is what I had in the bottle. So anyway, riding along, things are going well. It's pretty crowded on the bike, which I was kind of surprised. I never, you know, toward the end, never really had clean road without kind of jockeying for position and trying to stay out of drafting zones. But it's about 35 minutes in, and I hit a bump, and I hear my 3 almond butter packs hit the ground. So I look back, and we were in a huge pack at that point. I saw them on the ground. I saw, you know, them fly off the edge of the road. We were on a 2-lane road. There was cars coming the other direction. There was no safe way for me to stop and get them. So I just kept on going. I knew I was going to be in trouble nutrition-wise, but I really didn't feel like I had a choice at that point. So I just rationed out my drink mix like I'd planned, and was just hoping for the best at that point. The bike, like I said, was pretty crowded. The last, I don't know, 15 miles or so, I kind of pulled away from the pack that I was in just to get some clean road, and really didn't have, really wasn't too crowded heading into T2. Got kind of a second wind there the last, you know, 20 miles or so of the 56-mile bike, and felt really strong heading into transition. So total for the bike, I only had 340 calories, and like I mentioned in that bottle, I only had 29 grams of carbs. On the run, I did have a little bottle mixed up with 1 scoop of that fat fiber and about half, probably about a fourth actually, of one of those cartons of coconut water. So that was in a little bottle that you put in a fuel belt, but I just stuffed that in the back of my jersey in T2. So I took off on the run, thinking I was probably going to hit a wall at some point based on the low amount of calories that I had on the bike. Obviously, I'd planned on taking in 3 of those almond butter packs at 190 calories a pop. So, you know, I'm down about 570 calories total from where I wanted to be starting the run. So get on the run. The run course was a little hillier than I thought it was going to be. This was voted top 3 run course in the world or something by Ironman participants, and I don't think it's because the course was so great. I think it's really because of the crowd support. Had great crowd support the whole way through. The people in Delaware really love Ironman being up there. Um, and it showed. They were out in force in their yards, in the neighborhoods, cheering us on. A lot of encouragement written on the ground and sidewalk. A lot of people running their sprinklers. It was really good atmosphere on the run, but it was hilly, and uh, I got through that bottle that I had on the run, which ended up only being about 110 calories total that I had on the run. So this is where I was really thankful that I have become really metabolically efficient and fat adapted over the last 3 or 4 years. I've put a lot of effort into doing fasted workouts and teaching my body how to burn my stored fat as energy rather than relying on carbohydrates during races. Um, I also eat really clean, eat a diet that's probably higher in fat and lower than carbohydrates than most endurance athletes do, but that really came in handy when I lost my nutrition and had to rely on what I had on board. So I felt good on the run. My mile splits were started about 8-minute miles, dropped to 8:30s and around nines, but I was able to maintain nines or just a little under 9-minute miles for the last half of the run, and didn't have to walk any. I saw a lot of people walking. It started to get pretty hot by the time we got on the run. But I told myself just to do, every time I've walked in a race, it's a lot harder to get running again. I feel like my legs uh, aren't as strong once I've walked, and try to start running after a walk. So I just kept running, kept an eye. I had my cadence sensor on. I kept an eye on my cadence, trying to keep my run cadence high. I know when I start to get tired, that really slows down. I was monitoring my heart rate, but I wasn't able to keep it down. I would like to keep it in the 140s in my aerobic heart rate zone, but after the first couple miles, it jumped into the mid 150s, and that's just kind of where it hovered. It got into the 160s the last few miles as I was pushing it in. I did, had 2 goals for this race. First one was to set a PR for a half Ironman. My previous best was a 5 hour and 8 minutes and some change. So that was my number one goal. Secondary goal, a little bit of a stretch goal, was to get sub 5 hours. I felt like if I was going to do a sub 5 hour half Ironman, this would be the one to do, based on the flat bike course, and the weather conditions ended up being perfect. It was a little chilly in the morning in the high 50s, and ended up not probably high of like 75, 78, something like that in the afternoon, with a little bit of cloud cover at points. So conditions were right. I didn't look at my overall time till I got to about mile 9 or 10 of the run, and I switched over and did some quick math and realized that sub 5 hour goal wasn't achievable, but I could, if I was able to push it all the way in, get a PR. So I did manage to do that. I finished in 5 hours and 5 minutes and 39 seconds. So I was really happy with that. A new PR for me. I think I've still got a little bit of faster race in me at some point. I don't know if that will be on this Ironman 70.3 Ohio course or another half Ironman course somewhere, but I think I can get under 5 hours. I've got confidence. I've still got some room for improvement there. So overall, I'm really happy with the race. I like the venue. I think I may or may not do it again. Just depends on what the schedule's like over the next couple of years. But I would recommend the race. Great atmosphere, great support. It finishes in Selby Stadium in Delaware, where Ohio Wesleyan plays football. It's a great finish line, running on the track there, and then you've got some people in the stands cheering you on as you cross the finish line. So overall, had a good race. I'll put some of my statistics under this if you're interested in that kind of stuff, my split times and overall power and pace and pace in the water and on the run and all that. And I'll put gear I used, and then give kind of a recap on the nutrition that I used if you're interested in seeing exactly what I used. But overall, I only had 450 calories total that I took in during a 5-hour race. So, and I felt pretty strong, didn't bonk at all. So, there's something to be said for being metabolically efficient and fat adapted. And, it really paid off in this race. And obviously I had no gut issues. I'm not trying to put 400 calories per hour down like a lot of people do on the bike and end up having GI issues on the run. I didn't have anything in my stomach on the run hardly at all. So I had no issues with anything trying to come up one end or out the other end. So overall, I'm really happy with the race. Thanks for watching Race Report, and just hit me up if you have any questions. Thanks. Talk to you next time.